Have you ever been obsessed with the idea of your own vanishing? I know I have. There is one quote that I will read out to you that might give you some context on where I'm headed with this video. The quote goes, "No matter how obsessed you've been with your own vanishing, there will always be someone who still wants you whole." We all spend a lifetime searching for the permission to come home again, after forgetting that there are still people who will show up to love you, no matter how long you've been away. Now, every time something has gotten uncomfortable or I found myself in a situation of discomfort where I wanted to hide, where I fucked up really badly, where I've sent an email with a horrible spelling mistake, or I have said something to hurt a friend, or I have just uttered a string of words in a social setting that has now made things very awkward. Bearing my face in my hands does not cut it. I want to move to another country, change my name. You know what? Sometimes even that doesn't cut it. Truly vanishing and not existing. I don't mean this in a self harm way, in any way possible. I'm sorry if this triggers something negative for you, but I often think about wanting to vanish, not in a way that I just want to see who shows up to my funeral. I want to vanish in a way where not accessible on the surface of earth for a year. I work on myself, become a better person, undo all the wrongs that I have done in the time I was available, and come back somebody stronger. But why is it always that I'm obsessed with defining my importance by the lack of me? Our stories that we've been told as children have been defined by the importance of lack of me. Importance तभी ही पता चलती है. So much so that our parents have also given us this spiel while scolding us that जिस दिन मैं नहीं रहूँगी आपको तब पता चलेगी मेरी importance. आपको तब पता चलेगा कि आपको ये XY habit क्यों रखनी चाहिए थी. Is it really that difficult to appreciate things while they are in front of us, including ourselves? We all spend a lifetime searching for the permission to come home again. This is page 92 of the book, They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us. I could only take a printout, but I will go home and order the book. I did take a printout because there's quite a few books I want to reference in the point I have to make today. It goes something like, we all spend a lifetime searching for the permission to come home again, after forgetting that there are still people who will show up to love you, no matter how long you've been away. No matter how obsessed you've been with your own vanishing, there will always be someone who still wants you whole. Let me give you some more context. Now, often that feeling comes partly because of the things I have done, but partly because of the things that have also happened to me. I don't think I'm that horrible a person. मैंने इतनी सारी गलतियां भी नहीं करी हैं, in my opinion. This urge to hide seems like the safest option. I want to talk about the why of it. Why I know hopelessness is not the answer, but why vanishing feels like safety. And I am all for the idea that you should disappear for a little while to connect back with yourself. But for me, it often comes from, there is this principle of scarcity, right? When there is less of something available, they suddenly become more important. Could that apply to me as well? Do I think I could become a little more special, a little more important if there was less of me? Maybe, but it makes me question as to why do I need to reduce myself in order to be special? Is my need to be whole not big enough as compared to my need to be chosen, need to be important, or need to be special? I'm gonna delve a little more into all of this, but my need to vanish often scares me, because at the end of the day, aren't we all just fighting versions of ourselves that we know exist? I know there's a version of me that is impulsive, that is addictive in nature, that does not act rationally. I'm scared of her, so I vanish when I feel like that version is taking over. We are not fighting the world in as many ways. We're just fighting that one version, that one very destructive version that we know is within ourselves. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but right now, if it hits home, keep watching. I'm here in Chios, Greece for the 7-day art residency program, where the goal is to just be in somebody else's house to connect with your practice. Now, the other people who are here have a practice. For me, I'm like, okay, apart from the Instagram page I have, apart from journaling, apart from occasionally drawing, what is my practice? What do I really do as an artist? I like to think I'm an artist, but it's difficult to put a pin on, okay, this is my practice. This is what I would like to hone as a skill. I'm also a person who wants to do it all. And I like to take a lot of pride in being that person. But I'm also the person where if I'm not good at something immediately, I will go hide. I will go up to my room. And I've noticed that about myself. I tried the piano. I was okay at it. Went and hid in my room. I tried all pastels. Was okay with a few, but then lost my flow with it. Went and napped in my room. Then I'm realizing maybe it takes a lot of practicing to find out what your practice is. And the answer that came to me is talking, connecting. My art practice is conversation. Truly. I know I cannot put it on a canvas and I know I can't sell it, but I can document it here, long form. YouTube has always intimidated me. This is my attempt to get back to it, but I did make a few notes. This is a 14-day residency led by Christina, who's a brilliant, brilliant person. And the one thing I admire about her is the silence on the dinner table does not scare her at all. She's also a person who is not afraid to fill the silence with her personal experience or her personal story, which then opens up the conversation for all of us to share something. And I think that's a beautiful skill to have. As much as I am determined to not hide in the shadows and also be an equal participant in such conversations, I love to learn from such people. There are these labels that we keep in our heads that I know I do. Like if I like to think that I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert, these labels often limit how I truly want to show up in a conversation. Like if, when we put these labels on ourselves, there is this pressure that, hey, if I'm an introvert, maybe I don't need to contribute that much. And then I contribute once and twice. And then the entire time I'm just thinking about, did I say enough things? Does everybody think that I'm mean? Did I say enough interesting things? Or if I'm an extrovert, I'm like, do I have the pressure to lead the conversation? Am I being chatty enough? I want to let go of that label because I feel like when I don't perform as per the label, you're absolutely right. I want to hide. Hiding is very easy. Hiding is like instant coffee. Pani dalo ban gayi. Hiding is a very simple cheat code. Some people say that it helps you reconnect. Yes. I like to think I'm currently in hiding from the world. The way I haven't responded to anybody on WhatsApp and just taken a back seat from all my responsibilities is me hiding, is me running away from some accountability and some tasks that often show me the mirror of maybe how lazy I can be or how inefficient I can be or how low is my capacity to take on a challenge. I truly think I am here because I want to run away from those parts of myself. But for now, we will make some coffee. There's this really nice espresso concentrate that I have. We'll take a little break and make some coffee. I also think I am really at war with the idea of less is more, Not only because I think maximalism is coming back as a fashion trend, but I don't think less is more. More is more. You guys, let's call a spade, okay? Because when people say don't oversell, don't overproduce, scarcity is what makes your work that accessible. Yes, I get it. Don't sell me the bullshit of less is more, simplicity is key. Sure, in some cases, yes. In most cases, more is more. Are you going to tell me less espresso is going to wake me up better? Hell no. More espresso is more espresso. Like, more is more. Don't sugarcoat basic. Like, I hate it when we're supposed to reduce the joy of something for it to be poetically accurate. I'm sorry, no. Put out all your shitty artwork. Yes, if you tell me that Van Gogh also did not put out all of his best works, even the more reason I think he should have. Here's to more espresso. Cheers. I'll be back. I'm taking a break. Before I get into my next segment, I want to talk about this book I found here in the residency's gallery. It's called Navigating the Art World, Professional Practice for the Early Career Art. This is page 70 and this section is the pitfalls of selling. And the first point in this is don't overproduce. Carrying forward the theme of scarcity, having less of me there. This one rang a bell, but I have a different thought. Let me read this out. Overproducing can be damaging in a few ways. Firstly, not everything that you make will be amazing. This is a fact. Okay, agreed. Not even everything Van Gogh made was amazing. It is important and entirely necessary to experiment and be prolific. But it is perhaps more important to not allow any old thing out of your studio. Most of these experiments are just that, experiments. that aren't fully resolved works of art. Respectfully, I disagree. अगर वैन गो ने अपना सारा सामान बाहर नहीं डाला, I personally think डालना चाहिए था. अगर वैन गो ने उसका तो आर्ट भी पॉपुलर तब हुआ ना when he passed away. For like the man's got nothing to lose. He lost everything that he possibly could. I would have loved to see more Van Gogh, even though I feel I haven't seen all of it. But why shouldn't more of it exist? Then it says, once something is let out of your studio, it becomes an autonomous object that will likely outlive even you. So only let out your absolute best work. This isn't to say that you should make less or that you should release or show less. Okay, maybe they are getting on the same page as me. Another negative of overproduction is the reduction of scarcity. It is a sad fact that much of what drives sales in the art world is scarcity, or how hard it is to get hold of one of your works. The reason that an artist's prices increase dramatically after they die is that it becomes a fact that there will never be any more of their work. Scarcity is important whether we like it or not. I feel like I started getting on the same page of this book, but I disagree again. Yes, overproduction might have a few negatives, and I agree. If you are truly available, then your value is not really left as much. Yes, it is a sad fact that value is driven, that your art will have more value once you are no longer there to produce. Shouldn't that be reason enough to put more of yourself out there? Do you really want to be at an age where your brain, teeth, hands, eyes don't work like they used to before, and you just wish I would have created more art and I wish the world would have seen more of me, when you're in a situation where they probably can't? I understand there is no magic checklist for making your work more valuable. I truly feel that Martin Scorsese quote that the team of, I believe, Moonlight quoted at the Oscars or at the Academy Awards, I don't remember, is that the one that is the most personal is the most creative. While you still have it in you to curate your personal experience, I do believe it deserves to go out there. Yes, check yourself. Don't say batshit crazy stuff. Okay, I truly feel the performance of being scarce limits your creative expression, because I feel कि अगर मेरी value तभी बढ़ेगी जब मैं खुद को कम express करूंगी. That would change the way I create art, because I'm not gonna lie to you, this is a blatant truth. You think people create stuff because it is purely for their creative expression? No, it is also done with the goal of evoking something in the other person. When I say something, I want to evoke an emotion of relatability in you. The way I create is colored by the impact of how you will perceive it. The reason I create is because you will perceive it. While it can be scary, yes, a lot of you think she's just talking very normal, generic bullshit, and that's fine. To be perceived is to risk failing. I'm okay with it. And I'm pretty sure Van Gogh was okay with it too. But point being, to be sellable, to be valuable, I disagree with this book, Navigating the Art World. Because you might be able to navigate the art world, but if you truly have to navigate the real world, I say occupy as much space as possible. Because it has also taken me a while to get here, where I believed the performance of this scarcity, the performance of less of me, felt valid. And it worked for a while as well. I started getting a lot more work when I was a lot more choiceful what I choose to put out on my page. Yes, it does bring in money, but I'm only focused on creative expression right now. I'm only focused on purpose-driven expression right now. Create everything. Create as much as possible. I also feel it is your duty to let it out and get perspective by having another pair of eyes to your work, because we can also often get very clouded in our judgment when we are the only ones looking at what we think, what we speak, and what we create. There are so many things that we are oblivious to about ourselves and can only be brought to light when somebody else points it out. There are so many patterns about us are brought to our attention when somebody else points them out. Even if your own death resulting in your work being valuable, which is such a sad fact, even if that doesn't motivate you, I truly feel getting more perspective on your own self should.